Hi, 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 hi. What a not so lovely evening it is. I'm gonna do what I normally do and just chitter away until people drop on. And as you can see, it's not been a particularly good hair day. I've been rained on, I've been to the gym, I've been blown to bits, been out with the dog 3 times today, so I've just given up and put it up tonight. Hope you can hear me okay. Got the microphone on, got everything in position, trying to hide packing boxes and not doing very well this side. Packing boxes up to the ceiling now. Hi, Natasha. And painting behind me just to stop you seeing the mess that is my house full of packing boxes. Yay! So, have you got your coffee, Natasha? You're sitting with your coffee ready to go. I take it you can hear me okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Never 100% sure when I've got the microphone on. Brill, thank you. Fantastic. So I'm just going to start talking because you can't wait for everybody to join. This is an interesting week. This is my favourite subject, talking about change. This is such a big subject, big meaty subject, and really starts the process over the last 4 weeks after this week. Yeah, cup of tea ready, brill. It starts the process over the next 4 weeks of me talking about some of the massive changes that I made in my life. So I'm going to start by, for anybody who's just watching me for the first time or joining for the first time, I'm Mandy, and I am an artist, coach, and author. I coach women who lack the confidence to make a big impact and need support in that area. I write fictional stories about real life, which I will talk about. Hi, Tanya. I will talk about a little bit tonight. And I paint what the hell I like. I paint women and empowerment at the moment. I like to paint images that make a really, really big difference to people rather than just painting pretty pictures. So that's what I do. And you're joining me tonight on week 8 of my 12-week countdown to the launch of my website. And in a couple of weeks, my book will be launching properly on Amazon. So there's quite a lot happening, and I'm moving house. This series is called From Bankruptcy to Abundance. And the reason I decided to do this series was because of the book, because of my book that has just gone onto Amazon, because the book is about what led me to bankruptcy. It covers a period of around 12 months that led me to my rock bottom. I experienced a series of unfortunate events that would curl the hair of anybody, that forced me to make massive, massive changes in my life if I was ever going to be something again. So my rock bottom, I lost everything. I'm not going to give you any detail because you need to read the book, because I couldn't even try and summarize what happened. So I hit rock bottom. I'd gone from earning a 6-figure package as a senior leader in retail to having nothing and living in my little castle by the sea, my council house in Amble, with nothing but my £700 car. And in 4 weeks' time, I moved into my dream home, which I bought for cash. So I went from abundance to bankruptcy, and then from bankruptcy to abundance. And this 12 weeks is really just giving you all a taster of how that happened. So this week's episode is called Take Steps to Make Change Happen. I am the change. I am the power. That's a really important title. I can tell you now, it's a really important title. In summary, over the last few weeks, what I've covered is what happened when you hit that rock bottom, when you're at a place where you're not sure where to go, where you feel like you can't move forward, and what happened, how I got myself, the things that I did to retrain my mind to think that I could be something again. Because you can spend your life being where you are and accepting your lot, or you can decide to change. So I've covered forgiveness and gratitude and how important that is. when you need to make change happen. I've covered your mindset, how your thoughts work and how you think about yourself and how you talk about yourself. I've covered what you have and what you need and what you can do with what you have. I've talked about how to live within your means, and it's really, really important. That bit is really important, how to live within your means. Hi, Sarah. Because once you get a base level, you can move up. That week was quite an important week. Accepting that it will take time and having no judgment, being open, I've covered as well. And last week we talked about planning for the next 6 months. I introduced you to the perfect square and smart goal setting. And one of the things I said last week was that when I was great at goal setting, but at this point of my rock bottom and for the few months, quite a few months after that, I was almost immobilized by what had happened to me, which is perfectly normal and perfectly human. And I sat and I was great at planning. I'd been a senior leader managing multi-million-pound businesses. I could plan my way out of and into anything. And I was planning huge. But when I was on my own at that rock bottom, the brain fog that you experience and the difficulties that you experience are human. So it took me months just to be able to get myself. This is why I went through this process of forgiveness and gratitude and looking at my mindset and my thoughts. So all of the weeks previous to this have been about me just stabilizing myself, almost standing yourself back up. But once you've stood yourself back up and once you've got a grip and taken control again and started to retrain your thinking and your thoughts, then you are totally in control again. This is where the I am the change and I am the power comes from. Once you are back in control and you are planning again and you are forward thinking and you've got a base level and you are managing within your means and you are there, you can move yourself forward. Doesn't matter what situation you are in, it doesn't matter what's happened, whether it's with a business, whether it's work, whether it's life in general, you can move yourself forward because you are totally in control. Charles Darwin summed it up for me, and I have used this quote by Charles Darwin since very early in my management career because I love it. I think he sums. I studied psychology, so I have read the Origin of the Species, and this is where his quote comes from. And it's about change. And Charles Darwin says it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. And look around you of what's happening in the world right now. We have lots of leaders in charge that are failing and are not making change happen, that is actually impacting on our environment and our world. And a 16-year-old girl actually has stood up and said, you need to do more, you're not doing enough. It takes people that are prepared to stand up and say, do you know what? That's not enough, and that's what I did. Change is huge. It takes time. It takes commitment. But you are totally in control. I shared an affirmation this morning on my personal page that when I change my actions, I change the results that I achieve. So I have to change the actions that I'm taking in order to change my results. And when I change the results that I achieve, I change my life. This is a strong and true statement that has stood by me. So from rock bottom, I'd experienced massive change, massive amounts of change. Now, what I'm going to say is that's life. There's never going to be a moment where life just stands still. There's always going to be something that needs to be changed. It's opening your arms and welcoming that in and accepting that that is part of how you move forward. So, and it's okay to change your plans as well. It's okay to change everything. And I got into that mindset and that frame of working of whatever came up, I was going to change it. And I was going to make it better, bigger, and change my life. So I was at my rock bottom. I'd lost everything, lost my big job, lost all my money, living in a council house and cleaning for a living. So I wasn't going to stay in that status. That was going to change for me because I made the decision to make that change. And I did. I developed my cleaning business, expanded my cleaning business to the point where I was then taking on people and taking on groups of holiday cottages, and taking on different types of things. That led me to introductions to other people. And I actually opened my arms and welcomed that in every little thing that happened. So when something arrived on my doorstep and it was something that was different to what I was doing, I just accepted it and ran with it to see where it would take me. And I think that's really important. Sometimes things come up and people just say no, and you never know what you've missed when you say no. And I'm not saying say yes to everything to the point where people actually walk all over you and take advantage of you. That's not the type of change I'm talking about, and not the type of acceptance I'm talking about. I'm talking about looking at things from all perspectives and saying, is this thing that's turned up a potential opportunity for me to make change happen for the better in my life? So if a job opportunity comes up and you're a bit scared, because I'll tell you what holds us back. And I think you all know the answer to this. I'm going to say it anyway, because it's the little germs that get repeated again and again that are so true in life. Fear is what holds us back. And it's not always the fear of failure that holds us back. It's the fear of being too magnificent. That's what I've just written down on this piece of paper. Look, my scrappy notes here. It's the fear of being too magnificent and being too successful that we can't cope, because that would mean really big change for us, wouldn't it? So we hold ourselves back and we come up with reasons why we can't move forward, and why we can't stop doing what's not making us happy, why we can't stop doing what is making us feel uncomfortable. We give ourselves layers of excuses and reasons to stay immobilized exactly where we are at the moment, instead of saying, actually, do you know what? I'm just going to take that huge step, that big leap of faith, and JFDI. I'm going to do it. Honestly, I could have done a lot more, a lot sooner than this is me being really honest with you, if I hadn't been too frightened to really step big out there. And what held me back was my children. They'd been through so much trauma and so much difficulty. I stayed on a steady upward curve instead of taking a steep upward curve. That was my choice. I accepted that I was going to allow the change to come at a pace that I could cope with it, so I could still be the best mum for my children. Yeah, but I think I could have done everything a lot quicker if I hadn't made that decision. But actually, I'm pleased I made that decision, because the children's welfare was really important to me. So we all have our reasons as to why we make the choices we make, why we stay where we are, why we don't all do these massive giant things immediately. However, you have to take a risk sometime. You have to absolutely take a risk at some point when something shows up at your door. So it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent. It is the one most adaptable to change. Last week when I talked about planning, when you are planning and you're doing it well, you are making change happen in a very step-by-step process. You are inviting it in. You've got to step out of your comfort zone if you're going to take big changes on board. So, timing is perfect. Thanks, Sarah. Here's what happened to me. Here's what I did. And I'm not saying that this is what you will do, what you can do. You know, your life is your life. All I'm doing is sharing the things that happened to me, the learnings that I had. This is forming, these 12 weeks that I'm talking to you about now is forming the backbone of the next book. Because the first book was what took me to bankruptcy. The next book is what took me here. And there are several other projects within it as well. So yeah, now I've lost my train of thought because I started going off at a tangent. I do this all the time. You'll be used to this by now. So what happened to me when I decided that, you know, I wasn't going to stay small, I was going to be, so I grew my cleaning business. And I never had to look for any work because things just landed on my doorstep and I accepted them. So somebody would recommend me and I'd get a phone call and I'd say, right, okay, yeah, I can come and give you a quote, but I'm going to tell you now, I'd charge a premium price because you get a premium service. And people just accepted that because I was really honest and upfront with them. And after you've done it a couple of times, it feels less uncomfortable. And I was introduced through accepting and expanding my cleaning business into financial services, with one of the people that owned a group of holiday cottages. And I ended up moving into financial services and working for him. And I had never worked in financial services before. I arrived on the first day not having a clue what I was doing. And I was still self-employed. And there were guidelines around what I was going to do, and I went into that and learned absolutely loads and did a really good job. And then other things came my way and I said yes to them. And every step along the way I just said, okay, I'm not going to let fear rule what I do. I'm going to keep it under control because I need to be there for my children. Got to do that. That's my non-negotiable. I am not prepared to be out of the house for 12, 15 hours a day. I have to be here for my children. So it's got to work around me. What happened was, within 12 months of my rock bottom, I was earning as much with my cleaning business pro rata as I was as a manager. And I can't even tell you how it happened other than I had a strategy of what I was going to and not going to accept. And I decided to just have a look. I didn't know what a cleaning business was when I started. I started off just cleaning a few people's houses and taking on holiday cottages, then building that and bringing in staff and sacking staff and setting standards and putting processes in and having a strategy. And that starts with a pricing strategy, and then how much do I need to earn strategy, and then you work your strategy down. So I invited change in. I invited it into my life and welcomed it with open arms and just ran with it. So the cleaning business developed into financial services business, which developed into a wills and estate planning business, which has developed now this year into, so in 10 years, I have been a cleaner, had a cleaning business, been in financial services, preparing reports and reviews for high net worth clients, had a wills and estate planning business, and now I have started my own art, coaching and literary business. Now you couldn't get more different than those three things. And I'd been before that a senior leader in retail. And even that was big change for me. I'd gone from food retail to DIY and B&Q to IKEA, which was more design led. All of this, I started out with an art and design degree. So none of that was on my agenda. So I think for me, change has been a way of life from very early on. And I've accepted that that's just life. A lot of people get into, I watch a lot of people and I observe, I'm a people observer. I observe a lot of people who create a life for themselves and think that that is it. I'm also observing at the minute lots of women that are kicking back on that and saying, actually, I'm more than just this woman. I'm more than just this mum. I've got skills, I've got talents, and I want to take it out to the world. And it's so refreshing for me to be able to see that and watch women start to rise. Thank you, Sarah. I'm just reading comments here because Sarah's just said something. All require some drive and determination, which you have in abundance. I think you're right. I do have drive and determination in abundance, but I am human like every other person, and I have my fears and things that hold me back. But it's that Charles Darwin, that acceptance of change and knowing that the strongest of the species are those that are more adaptable to change. Do you know what, ladies? That's us. That's women. We have this skill in abundance. We are able to take our bodies through pregnancy and give birth and then nurture this child that we know nothing about and don't know how to do it. That is the most amazing skill on earth. And you know something else? That's a transferable skill. And this is what made me a good manager when I was in retail, because I recognized that you did not have to know everything about an area to be good at it, because skills are transferable into whatever you choose to do. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. It didn't matter whether I was cleaning a house, whether I was preparing a financial report for a millionaire, whether I was doing somebody's estate plan, or whether I'm painting a picture or coaching a person or writing a book. I'm going to do it to the absolute best of my ability. And if I come across a barrier, I'm going to go and find out a solution. I'm going to go and seek a way out of that and look for the thing that allows me to be able to do it. And I'm going to use an example. I have published my book on Kindle. It is available on pre-order. This is me plugging it, by the way. It's available on pre-order now. And the actual launch date is the 5th of October. Now, I did not have a Scooby-Doo how to do that myself, how to get my book onto Amazon. It took me 5 full days, but I watched every video, I watched people on YouTube, I read everything on Amazon, and I worked out how to publish that book myself. I learned how to format it into a manuscript. I learned how to upload it and preview it and create a cover, all in the last couple of weeks. Not because I'm tight and didn't want to pay somebody else £2,000 to do it, but because actually, if I've got another couple of books in the pipeline, which I have, wouldn't that be a really good skill to have? And that's how I approach life and change. And I think that's what change is about. It's taking the obstacle, the barrier, the thing that's going to stop you from moving forward and saying, right, okay, matey, I'm going to learn about you. I'm going to go out there and find out how to overcome you. And that's what it takes to be able to make change happen. That's why I say, I am the power. Yeah, I am the change. I am the power. And I'm going to go back to what I said fairly early on in this series, that you are the universe. I am the universe. There is loads out there, all these buzzwords at the moment that I've talked about in the last couple of weeks about manifesting and the universe. And it's all correct. All of it is correct. But put it into reasonable context, because let me tell you this, the universe isn't sitting there with a big ear listening to you, waiting for you to go, can I please have this? And then saying, right, okay, I'll put that in my diary. Mandy wants £20,000 to invest in her business. Let's drop it into her life without her actually doing anything, because that's not how it works. It's just not how it works. I am the person that will create that change. I am the person that will come up with the solutions to give me the answers, and it's about me going out and finding them. One of the things, I've just filmed this, funnily enough, I've just filmed this for the website content. I think it's for month 4 of the website content. All the website is written, I'm now filming the videos that go along with it. And I talk about affirmations, and affirmations are not for everybody. In fact, when I started discovered affirmations through The Secret fairly early on, about 10, 11 years ago, I was like, I don't know whether I can say that over and over again and do that. I feel a bit of an idiot, really. And I had Post-it notes up all over the place with positive statements on, but it just didn't feel comfortable for me. And it took me quite a few years, actually, to get my head how affirmations really work. And I've been using them over the 10 years, on and off, depending on what's happening. But what I did do when I wanted to make huge change happen this year, because I wanted to do what I want to do. I wanted to do art and coaching and write books. That's what I wanted to do. So I knew that I had to make it happen. That was a big change. I accept that it's me and I am the power. But I have used affirmations this year to reprogram my mindset and my thinking to be able to manifest what I need to be able to really invest in doing this business properly. So my affirmations, and obviously, you know, I've had health problems this year. So I have 3 basic affirmations. I am strong, I am powerful, I am well. And that's me. I do them on the dog walk. This is what I do in the mornings at 6 o'clock. I walk around the block with the dog, saying affirmations out loud because there's nobody else. There's just the occasional dog walker. And I say it quietly when I'm passing them, or I say it in my head. But other than that, I say my affirmations out loud. The I am strong, I am powerful, I am well is about me making my head force my body into keep going. I then say, I live a wealthy and abundant life. Money comes easily and effortlessly to me. And I accept, and this is one I've been saying, I'm going to tell you about this one because it is quite an eye-opener. This particular affirmation has actually served me so well. It's been, I accept £20,000 imminently from the universe in the right way so that I can create the life I dream of. I accept £20,000 in the right way, imminently from the universe so I can create the life I dream of. Right, I've been saying that over and over again. So I live a wealthy and abundant life. Money comes easily and effortlessly to me. I accept £20,000 from the universe imminently in the right way so I can create the life I dream of. I am the power. I am the change. What happens then is the little synapses and neurons start to connect in your head and give you the way to be able to make that happen. The universe isn't sitting up there with a big checkbook ready to give you. Yeah. It's your thought processes. The affirmations retrain your thought process, and you get home and you go, oh, I could do this, or I could do that. So have I manifested £20,000 to invest in my business? Absolutely. Actually, I've manifested 23,000, and I'll tell you how I've done it. I put in a PPI claim for mortgages from 34 years ago that I didn't actually think I'd get, but I thought, you know what, nothing to lose. The PPI deadline's August. I'll do that anyway. I had my car accident. I had a claim in for that. Something came up on my streaming about a lower interest business loan. I applied for that. I did loads of different things. And you know what? Within 3 months, it was like, cha-ching, 8,800 settlement from the PPI, cha-ching. There's your car settlement, £4,000. Yes, you can have a loan. And finally, I got a backdated £3,500 from the local council because I should have been claiming for my husband and son being disabled, and I'd written a letter and claimed for that. So all the affirmations do is they connect pathways in your brain for you to think about opportunities to actually get what you want and need in your life to make the change happen. So affirmations are good, but you've got to use them in a way that's right for you. And that's really, you know, in a nutshell, what I wanted to say is everything comes down to you. Every single action you take, I'm going to go back to that affirmation. When I change my actions, I change the results that I achieve. And when I change the results that I achieve, I change my life. That is an affirmation that I've had in the past. I believe it 100%. Everything is my responsibility. I take 100% responsibility for every single action, every single decision, and every single thing that happens and that I do in my life. And that is how you make change happen, by you being the power and you being the change. Your earnings there is no ceiling to the amount of money that you can earn. There's no ceiling to the amount of happiness that you can feel. There's no ceiling to the amount of abundance in your life. There's no ceiling to your health or any of the areas, and your self-expression. You can do anything that you want to do, and you should, because holding back, even though I held back a little over the last 10 years just for the sake of the children, holding back just keeps you where you are in the box, and you need to smash out the sides of the box and really go for it, because what's the worst that can happen? And that's also the attitude I had. The worst had happened. So what was the worst that could happen if I just decided to do everything? So I'm going to sum this up now and just say, look, none of you out there are restricted by anything other than your thoughts holding you back. You can do anything. Some of you might need somebody to hold your hand and help you along, somebody that can say, yes, you can do this. Find that person. Find the person that you resonate with. Find them. Work with them. Ask them for help. Do what you need to do to be all that you can be, because there's no need to stay anywhere other than in brilliance. And let your brilliance blind everybody around you, because it's in you already. You have everything you need. You have everything you need, because you are the change and you are the power. Next week, another bit of paper. Next week's a really big, meaty week. We're going to plan for the long game. We're going back to finances a bit here, and I'm going to tell you some of the things that I have done financially in terms of planning for the long game. 10 years ago, I put plans in place, and I'm paying cash for this house, guys. Not saying that you might all, well, yes, I am. You can all have that same level of abundance. So next week, playing for the long game, planning for the long game, and making things happen. So have a lovely evening. I'm going off to watch Holby, and I will see you same time, same place next week. Love and colour.